when you've got a judge who is a La Raza official, okay, highly connected in that. And of course, the Washington Post says, no, the La Raza lawyers is not connected to La Raza National. It's like baloney. Just call them on that BS. I tell you what, Washington Post has dropped to the lowest standards of just about any of the major newspapers. And of course, we've pointed out a lot of problems with mainstream media, but Washington Post is getting to be a true propaganda rag. And I've got another example of that coming up here in just a moment. But when we see what's happening here, this is nationalism versus nationalism. These are people coming here saying, make America Mexican again. They're burning American flags. They're waving Mexican flags. They're hunting people down like prey because they are pro-American or because they don't like their political beliefs. You're going to accept that? Are you going to accept the idea that we ought to just allow this to happen? We ought to just bring people in without any kind of vetting? And we ought to let everyone come here? Look at this story. I hadn't seen this. My wife sent this to me. Out of Fox Atlanta, a woman in a burqa attacks a Lawrenceville family who had an American flag. She attacked them with their own flag. They said they were sitting there and they're staying there in the garage. The lady said, I was talking to my daughter, and all of a sudden this woman in a burqa comes out of the woods. And she stands there and looks at us for a second. And then she goes over, and they had an American flag on a pole stuck on their mailbox. She grabs the American flag that's on the pole and rushes them to attack them. And as the daughter says, well, when she came charging, it was kind of like mama bear instincts kicked in. My mama had to protect her children, so they got into a fight, these two women, and then some neighbors came over and helped them. When the police arrested this woman, who gave her name as Amina Ara, 30, all she would tell them is she's, quote, from Africa. No other information, not even what country she's from, no local address, because, we don't vet anybody who comes here. We bring in people who hate this country, or, as I mentioned yesterday, and this is another thing I want to repeat again, because I think this is very, very important. We had Hillary Clinton going through California, doing her campaign stops. And of course, she doesn't do press conferences, right? So she does these dog and pony shows where she brings in people who are illegal immigrants, college-age dreamers, talking about how wonderful all of this stuff is. And guys, if you got this from yesterday's show, I want you to cue up this clip, number 2, where the lady says she was able to get scholarships and everything. She has sitting next to her a South Korean student. And the student says, yeah, I go to Azusa Pacifica College. And we're going to play that clip for you here in a minute. And as she's talking about what she's doing, Hillary Clinton is sitting there nodding and smiling approvingly. And what she says, yeah, I'm an undocumented immigrant from South Korea, and I came here for college, and I'm getting all of my scholarships and grants through DACA, the Dreamer program. And so I looked at that and I said, well, how much tuition are we talking about here at Azusa Pacific College? Well, their tuition alone is $35,500 a year. But the college says plan on $44,500 because it's going to be service fees, room and board, housing and a meal plan. So figure on about $44.4 a year. Understand what's going on. This is called a full ride scholarship. This is the most coveted scholarship that American students have to work very hard for. American students don't get in-state tuition unless their parents have lived in a state and paid taxes in that state to support these tax-funded organizations. They're subsidized. That's one of the reasons why the prices are so expensive. This lady who comes here from South Korea, and again, 5 years ago, they're talking about how, South Korean students are just balking at the high cost of college. I said, it's really not worth it to get a college degree. I'm having to pay $7,000 a year to go to college in South Korea, and I'm getting out of here with like $35,000 in debt that I can't do anything with. They said the cost of tuition is too high. It's not really helping me to get a job. They point out that 3 million South Korean students, which is about the number that they got enrolled in a given year, okay, about 3.3 million, couldn't find jobs after they got their college degrees. Plus they had, $35,000 in student loans that they had, that they'd gone into debt for. So what's a poor South Korean student going to do? Hey, here's an idea. You can go to America because Hillary and Obama will give you a full ride scholarship, no questions asked. And you don't end up with a student loan. The American taxpayer ends up with a student loan. And over 4 years, that's $177,000 for this lady. All she did was just come here in defiance of our laws and demand this largesse, which ought to make you spitting mad. It makes me really mad to see this going on. And when does it stop? Because we've got we've got both Bernie and Hillary saying that they're going to continue doing this. Let's play that clip. They've got that clip ready. Let's play the clip. And this is what she said with Hillary. And Hillary's sitting right there with her, smiling and approving. Here we go.
Others, like Clara Kim, here illegally from South Korea, goes to Azusa Pacific. She was able to get help with tuition despite her legal status.
I was able to get scholarships and grants through DACA.
DACA and DAPA are government programs which, among other things,
there you go.
allow children
Okay,
and
now
parents to...
let's get that other clip because I want to play for you how the press is playing along with this. This is CBS out of L.A. Let's get that third clip that we had from yesterday's show. We didn't even play it yesterday, where they wrap that up, clip number 3. But let's talk about this. This one individual comes over here and rips us off for $177,000, gets a full free ride scholarship simply because she's illegal. Again, in defiance of our laws, because she's illegal, we give her special benefits. It made me so angry to look at the Libertarian Party debating open borders and immigration. These people were so absolutely clueless. And of course, we've got Gary Johnson and William Weld throwing the Second Amendment under the bus. But on open borders, they were on line with the Libertarian Party, I'm afraid to say. And saying, well, you know, it's not really a problem because even though we got open borders, and that could bankrupt the country, as Milton Friedman pointed out 30 or 40 years ago, people who are not citizens aren't going to get those welfare benefits. It's like, oh, really? Tell that to the South Korean lady who came in and gave herself $177,000 in free college tuition. Why don't we just do that for all the South Korean people? All the students, all 3.6 million South Korean college students. Let them all come here. Why should they bother to go into debt to pay for their education? Let them all come to America. Because that would only be $637 billion a year that they would put on us and indebt our children, take our homes with property taxes to pay for this nonsense. Because, quite frankly, that is the policy that Bernie, that Hillary, that the Libertarian Party, Gary Johnson and William Weld, they all support that. Open the borders. We want free and open borders, and we want everybody to come in, and we want to give them free college tuition. Free college tuition. And so where does it stop? That's just one country. South Korea be 637. Do we as American taxpayers have to have the IRS hold a gun to our head and force us to pay for the college education? And I would point it out this way. It's worthless. An American college education is mostly worthless unless you get something in engineering or medicine. It's a worthless degree. What are they teaching them? Hate white people. What are they going to do with that when they go back to South Korea? There's no white people there to hate. Well, I guess they could hate us because we paid for their college tuition, couldn't they? And then this is what CBS has to say. Let's play that clip.
Both Aguilar and Mendez fully support what they heard from Hillary Clinton today, and they would love to support her in November. But given their status, they can't vote. They're part of the estimated 11 million people in this country illegally who can't vote in an election that figures to great...
I want to bang my head against the wall. They would love to vote for Hillary Clinton. This is an issue that affects their future, and they would love to vote for it, but they can't because they're not citizens. Do you realize the absurdity of this? And that guy is smiling there for CBS in L.A.? It's pathetic. And then their article says this: Aguilar and other undocumented students at the event said they were committed to Clinton too. However, like millions of other undocumented immigrants, they will not be able to vote in next week's primary or the general election. Don't worry, they're going to change that. She said the central issue of her campaign, and she's got two central issues. We'll talk about the other one, guns, when we come back. She said the central issue is immigration. Within 100 days, I'm going to make all these people voters. They will be reliable little minions for her. All she has to do is steal from you and give them a free college education. We'll be right back. Our final segment of the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight. I want to talk about Hillary and guns. But before I do, just real quickly, I'll mention one more time. Today is the final day of our introductory special of the Alexa Pure Breeze Ion Cluster Air Purification System. That's a mouthful. But I tell you what, it's a breath of fresh air. That's what you want in your home. It's going to get that stale air that's in your locked up home. It's going to clean it. It's going to do it quietly, efficiently, and give you, as a byproduct, some clean water. Also, today is the last day for 20% off of Lung Cleanse at InfoWarsLife.com. Check those products out at InfoWars.com and at InfoWarsLife.com and at InfoWarsStore.com. Look at the specifications on Alexa Pure Breeze. And again, that's 25% off of retail. We show you feature by feature. We show you a price comparison there. You can compare that. It is a great deal. That ends today. Alexa Pure Breeze air purification system. And it's the final day for our Lung Cleanse. 20% off at InfoWarsLife.com. Guns. Hillary Clinton said that immigration and making illegals legal is going to be the center part of her campaign. But of course, gun confiscation is a big part of it as well. She's talking about this throughout California, a very popular thing for her to talk about. One thing that she's hit Bernie Sanders on, because even Bernie Sanders doesn't want the kind of gun control that Hillary Clinton does. See, he voted, as most other people did, for a reasonable law, the PLCAA, Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act. What is that about? That says simply that you can't sue gun manufacturers who aren't liable for the product that they make. They make a product, and it's a gun, and you can't sue them because you don't like guns. Well, Hillary Clinton wants to sue them. That's like saying, somebody got killed with a Ford, so we're going to come after Ford because we don't like cars. We know that Ford's got a lot of money, so we're going to shut down the automobile industry because we're inner city liberals and we hate cars. Well, that's what these people are doing with guns. So they passed a law just to underscore, I guess, the Second Amendment, or maybe, start to get the idea, don't you, that the Constitution is no longer in effect. That's another story for another day. But why do we even need to have a PLCAA? Well, one of the reasons we need to have it is for people like Hillary Clinton. You can point to it and you can say, shut up. We've addressed this specifically. Just in case you don't understand what shall not infringe means, then we have passed a special law for you, Hillary, but she wants to get rid of it. And she said this yesterday on This Week with George Stephanopoulos, one of the Sunday shows. She outlined her plan to abolish the Second Amendment. First, she says, I'm not seeking to abolish the Second Amendment. I'm just seeking to make it unapplicable, okay? We're going to shut down gun manufacturers. We're going to track ammunition. We're going to make sure that you can't buy ammunition without a background check. All the stuff, that the Libertarian Party candidates supported when they were governors, okay? William Weld supported all this stuff, and when people called him out on it, said, wait a minute, Libertarians are supposed to be pro-Second Amendment, pro-self-defense. And he said, oh, those weren't hunting rifles that I wanted to confiscate. Okay, put background checks and ammunition. Hillary Clinton says, I'm going to continue to speak out for comprehensive background checks, closing gun show loopholes, closing the online loophole, closing the so-called Charleston loophole. These are not loopholes. The Constitution says, shall not infringe. That means that you don't take your fence and move it onto your neighbor's property by 1 foot and then leave it there. And then after a period of time say, that's mine now. That's what they're doing with your rights. They're gradually moving the boundaries. They're turning your fundamental rights into government-granted privileges. That's the way they always do it. That's what Hillary Clinton wants to do. That's what, unfortunately, even the libertarians are supporting now in their ticket. Makes me, it's just unbelievable to see what they're doing. Listen, join us tonight. We're out of time on this radio show tonight. We're going to talk about the billionaire bug-out rockets. We're going to talk about Brexit. We're going to talk about Bilderberg. Join us then, 7 Central, 8 p.m. Eastern.